Last time, after 10 billion years drifting in the dark, your atom was caught in the collapsing cloud that became the sun, pulled into a spinning disk of gas, dust, and fire. Now that disk is doing something new with you. It is building a world, and it intends to bury you inside it. Your atom is locked inside a speck of rock no bigger than a grain of sand, tumbling through the chaos around the young sun. Around you, other grains are clumping into pebbles, pebbles into boulders, boulders into mountains of stone that fall together under their own gravity. Each collision is a hammer blow. Each impact adds heat. The growing ball does not cool down, it glows. In a few million years, the mountain you ride becomes a planet. Your atom is now somewhere inside the newborn Earth, roughly 4.5 billion years ago. Geologists have a name for this opening chapter of Earth's story. They call it the Hadean. The geologist Preston Cloud coined the word in 1972, from Hades, the Greek underworld. The name was not poetry. It was a warning. Because if you could stand on the surface of this young Earth, you would not survive a single breath. There is no blue sky. There is no ocean. There is no ground you could safely stand on. Most of the planet's surface is not solid at all. It is an ocean of molten rock, a magma ocean, hundreds of kilometers deep. The temperature where your atom sits is well over 1,000 degrees Celsius. Stone here does not sit still. It flows like syrup. Your atom is no longer trapped in a grain of solid rock. The grain has melted. You are dissolved into the molten sea itself. And this sea is moving. Heat rises from below, cooler material sinks from above, and the whole ocean turns over in slow, churning loops. Your atom is dragged down into the glowing depths, then hauled back toward the surface, over and over, on currents thicker than honey. Above the magma, there is a sky, but it is a sky that would kill you in seconds. There is no free oxygen to breathe, not a trace. The air is thick with carbon dioxide, water vapor, nitrogen, and choking sulfur. The pressure is crushing, the clouds are venom, and the whole atmosphere glows a dull, angry red from the molten world beneath it. This is your home for the next 500 million years. Not a planet you would recognize, a furnace with gravity. And inside that furnace, something is sorting everything by weight. Geologists call it the iron catastrophe. The early Earth was a near-random mix of metal and rock. But molten metal is heavy, and gravity does not tolerate disorder. Droplets of liquid iron, denser than everything around them, begin to sink toward the center of the planet. Trillions of tons of metal rain inward, down through the magma, and pool into the heart of the world. The Earth is growing a core. All that falling metal releases staggering heat, enough to melt the planet even more deeply than before. Your atom, lighter and locked in rock, is left behind in the mantle, the thick layer of churning stone above the new iron core. You will never reach the center, but you are not safe. The worst day in the history of the Earth has not happened yet. Out in the chaos of the young solar system, another world is on a collision course. Scientists call it Theia, a rogue planet, roughly the size of Mars, sharing a lane around the Sun with the infant Earth. Two worlds cannot share one orbit forever, and about 4.5 billion years ago, they meet. This is the giant impact hypothesis, first proposed by William Hartmann and Donald Davis in 1975, and it is the most violent event your atom will ever endure. Theia does not nudge the Earth. It hits at miles per second, with the force of unimaginable trillions of bombs. The collision tears the side off the planet. A spray of molten rock is flung clear of the Earth and out into space. The surface where your atom rides is thrown into chaos. The entire outer Earth is remelted in an instant. Some of the rock blasted into orbit is your neighbors, atoms that were beside you moments before, now hurled into the sky. That ring of glowing debris circles the wounded Earth. Within only years, gravity pulls it together into a single new object. You are watching the birth of the moon, built from the shattered skin of the world you live in. The moon is born terrifyingly close, perhaps 10 to 20 times nearer than it sits today. It looms enormous in a sky that is now glowing with vaporized rock, an atmosphere so hot it is made of stone itself. Above the magma ocean, this rock vapor cools and condenses, and it does something no rain has ever done before or since. It rains liquid rock. Droplets of molten stone fall from the sky, back into the molten sea, for thousands of years. Your atom may have been thrown into that sky and rained back down, flung out and recaptured by the same wound that made the moon. The newborn Earth is spinning wildly fast. A single day, one sunrise to the next, lasts only about 5 or 6 hours. And the giant nearby moon hauls colossal tides through the molten rock and the heavy air, flexing the whole planet. For your atom, time has no meaning here. There is only heat, pressure, and the slow churn of the mantle, century after century. Slowly, very slowly, the surface begins to win against the heat. The magma ocean starts to skin over. A thin, dark crust of solid rock forms at the top, fragile, repeatedly broken, repeatedly reborn from below. But the sky is not done with the Earth. Out beyond the moon, the leftover rubble of the solar system is still falling. For hundreds of millions of years, asteroids and comets pound the young crust in a relentless storm. Some scientists describe an intense pulse of this around 4 billion years ago, a late heavy bombardment recorded in the scars of the moon. Every large impact can melt the surface again, splash craters of liquid rock, and undo thousands of years of cooling in a heartbeat. Your atom, locked in the crust, might be melted, buried, blasted loose, and reburied, again and again and again. This is what buried in hell truly means. Not one disaster, but disaster on a loop, for longer than complex life has existed since. And yet, between the impacts, in the quiet stretches, the planet keeps cooling. Heat always loses to time. The crust thickens, the reddest glow fades from the rock, and in the venomous sky, the water vapor finally gets its chance. All those clouds of steam, held up for ages by the heat, begin to cool enough to condense into liquid water. And then it rains. Not rock this time, water. Real rain, falling onto a cooling world for the first time. It may have rained for thousands of years without stopping, filling the lowlands, forming the first warm, shallow seas. How do we know liquid water came this early? Because tiny crystals survived to tell us. In the Jack Hills of Western Australia, geologists found grains of the mineral zircon dated to around 4.4 billion years old. Reported in the journal Nature in 2001 by Simon Wild, John Valley and colleagues, these are the oldest known pieces of the Earth. The chemistry frozen inside those zircons hints that liquid water existed on Earth far earlier than anyone expected. Hell, it turns out, started cooling sooner than we thought. Among the fire, there were already puddles. Your atom may now find itself near one of those first shorelines, locked in dark crust, lapped by warm, mineral-rich water. The oldest intact rock we have ever found, the Acasta gneiss in Canada, is about 4 billion years old, proof that solid ground finally lasted. The crust no longer melts away every few centuries. The Earth has, at last, grown a permanent skin. The day is still short. The moon still looms large. The sky still has no oxygen to breathe. But the violence is finally losing. The meteor storm thins. The magma oceans freeze into stone. Your atom has survived the iron catastrophe, the birth of the moon, the rain of rock, and 100 million falling stars. It has been melted, flung skyward, buried, drowned, and frozen into the crust of a brand new world. And now it sits in dark rock at the edge of a warm, shallow sea, beneath a poisoned but slowly calming sky. Think back to where this chapter began, a single grain falling into a furnace with gravity, doomed to be buried in hell. That hell is still here, but it is no longer all there is. There is water now. There is stone you could stand on. There is a shore. And along shores like this one, in warm water laced with minerals, the chemistry of the Earth is about to attempt something impossible. Atoms that have only ever been smashed, melted, and buried are about to start arranging themselves into patterns that copy. Next time, on Atom, the moment it became alive, your atom is pulled into the first living thing the universe has ever made. After 14 billion years of fire and dark and stone, the thing you're made of is about to wake up.